So happy Community College Month. We're very, very excited. We get to live this every day, but I cannot thank all of you enough for being here. Your being here is tremendous support for CCM. I know everyone has very, very busy schedules. I know that there are a lot of competing priorities for your time, but the fact is you chose to spend time with us this morning to learn more about the work that CCM is doing, learn more about what New Jersey's community college system is doing and where we're going, and most importantly, I believe, to hear directly from our students. So being here is everything to us. Thank you. And I really, truly hope you'll take what you hear this morning and you'll take that back into the community with you and help people better understand the work that happens at CCM. I hope that you'll take that back to your offices with you, and as you consider legislation, you consider things like funding, even the wording on certain language of how we proceed and move students through the system so that they become, individuals who have achieved their dreams and really, really productive members of our communities. I hope you will remember all of that and more as we go through the program today. CCM is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. 50 years, can you imagine that? And we have more than 50,000 alum. 50,000 alum is absolutely extraordinary. We graduate more and more. This has been a big year for us. We've had a lot of celebration going on. We will actually have at our commencement ceremony our first graduate with us on stage, still lives in the area, and will be with us. When you talk about community colleges, I get very passionate and very excited, and it's like that old Gillette commercial, not just the president of a community college, I'm a community college graduate from a long time ago, and they had community colleges back then. I graduated from Indian River Community College in South Florida, and it really, really helped open up my life enormously and gave me a lot of opportunities to pursue what it was that I was interested in and to achieve my dreams, and every day we have a chance to live that here. But we can't live it without your support and your advocacy for what we do as well. 50,000 alum, and a few are in the room and they're scattered throughout the county. Where's our county administrator, John Bonanni? In the back, one of our alum. Who's here today, and a powerful leader throughout our county. Jim Gannon, who's not with us, but is with us very often on the campus. Our sheriff is a CCM alum. Bill Coggin, the former mayor of Chester, a CCM alum. A few names you might recognize. An individual, Greg Volz, who's the senior vice president of research at Emerson, a huge global manufacturing company, is a CCM alum. Steve Yulee, who is at the very top of the banking world and brokered the merger between J.P. Morgan and Chase and put those banks together, is a CCM alum, and then went on to do even greater things. Wherever I go throughout this community, and often far outside of the community. Dr. Fichtner and I made a trip to Germany last year to see apprenticeships throughout that country and what they do as New Jersey gears up more and more for apprenticeships. And in the airport, I had my jacket on. Somebody said, CCM, I went there. And on the plane, I thought, wow, we really are everywhere. That's pretty exciting. But our students really are everywhere. They've gone on to accomplish remarkable things. They are attorneys and they are medical doctors. They are dentists. I'm looking out at my friend Angrasso, who is a CCM alum, also attorney and clerk of the court. They are teachers. They are professionals in the restaurant and hospitality industry. They're machinists, electricians, social workers, law enforcement officers, artists, and in short, our graduates represent every profession throughout Morris County. They are the fabric of what makes Morris County absolutely a wonderful place to live, work, and play. More than half of the nurses working in our hospitals and medical facilities came from CCM, more than 85% of the radiographers and radiologists. I recommend if you're at Morristown Medical or you're over at St. Clair's, wonderful hospitals, just request a CCM nurse, okay? I'm not biased, but they do have the highest pass rates on the national licensure exam that you're going to find, and you will find that's true with our radiographers and respiratory therapists. Radiography hit a 100% pass rate. Nursing post a 93% pass rate, about 15% above national averages. So I really would ask for them. Now, if you're in a dire condition, don't refuse someone. Take who they have, but if you could ask, that's always a good thing as well. We are ranked one of New Jersey's best colleges. Our alumni are ranked #1 in their salaries after graduation. So, it's not just about how we feel about this, not just saying it's a great college. We really look at our numbers. We look at our metrics. We follow and pay attention to what our students are doing now and what they're doing afterward, and that's critical to us. We look at the economic impact, and if you look at us from a business perspective, we are a very powerful mid-sized business. We have a $484 million million economic impact on Morris County. That means if we pulled up and went to Pennsylvania or Delaware, we're not, we would all notice that. We would feel that dramatically in the loss to Morris County. We hired a national company that really is the premier organization that looks at economic impact, and they came back and said, this is yours, and they broke it down. I'll give you a couple highlights of some of those industries. We have a $56.4 million impact on the healthcare industry in Morris County. That's profound. A $32.2 million impact on manufacturing. And through the support of many of you, and Assemblyman Bucco has left right the state, our county freeholders, many manufacturers, Mayor Lovey's, City Manager Steve Mountain, who's here with us, and others, we have a new engineering building that's coming out of the ground at the request, built for and by manufacturers, so that we can make sure that Morris County can thrive, not just so our students have an opportunity to a great career, if they want to be machinists or engineers. I got Ann Gressy. Could never forget Ann. When I looked out, it's got a little, we love you, Ann. We would never leave you out. One of our favorite alum. But also because in the manufacturing world, it's technology-based, and it's changing very, very fast. And that means that these individuals who work there have to be trained and retrained and retrained, and we're the place they go for that retraining over and over. Community colleges are a little bit different than universities. Universities are your tremendous flagships for research, and they are invaluable, right? And they also provide a tremendous education. Community colleges, you know, we know, and we deal openly with the stigma sometimes, are where America goes to college. More than half of the freshmen who start college every fall go to community colleges. Why do they go there? They go because it's affordable. That makes sense. And I tell our students all the time, and my wife and I have 4 children, they have heard this lecture since birth almost. The goal is not to spend as much money as you possibly can. The goal is not to go to the best party you've ever been to. And the goal, in spite of what sometimes students tell me, my parents just don't want me to leave. Yes, they do. Trust me on this. Alexa, yours gave you a car and you still stayed. All right? They even gave you the way out of town. They do. But they really care about you, and we really care about you, and we want to make sure that you have a solid foundation under you before you go on, and then you can do extraordinary things for yourself and for others, okay? So it is affordable. But here's what's better than affordability, because affordability is sort of a misnomer if it doesn't have great quality behind it. Okay? Nothing is of value without the quality. And the quality is exemplary. We get measured regularly, nationally, statewide. We watch what our students are doing. We see this over and over again. Okay? We find that lifetime earnings for community college graduates, over $1 million more over the lifetime than individuals who don't have a degree or a credential. You may have seen Stanford University's new and expansive study that said regardless of where students start college, whether it be an Ivy League or a community college, actually has no bearing on their lifetime success after tracking tens of thousands of students. What matters more, and these students are such a testimony to that, is what did you do while you were in college and how you function after college. Now, we have some superintendents in the room, I believe. Put your hands up. Okay. Got a couple in the room with us, and we have one of our board members, Dr. Angelica McMillan Allen, who's the executive superintendent, who's with us also. So we have a lot of these conversations. The truth is, it doesn't just start here. It starts in our public schools. It starts into the high schools. It goes down to the middle schools. That's where excellence really begins to happen and pushes its way up, and then we have an opportunity to nurture that and work with you further. But where you start, Stanford says, doesn't have a bearing, okay? The New York Times recently published a wonderful article saying community colleges are becoming the magnet for the middle and upper middle class. And we're seeing that. Now, Dr. Simmons is going to talk to you a little bit afterward about how the faces on our campus is changing. Who's coming to community colleges? But America really is starting to figure out the quality is unbeatable. And really, students are doing everything and anything that they want to do over and over and over again throughout their lives. But it is affordable. We are 75% less than one of the state's public universities. And that just makes sense. What we shouldn't be doing is pushing students into a lifetime of massive debt. And my wife is a pre-K teacher. So in our house, we've always said she gets them coming, I get them going. All right? She's far more patient than I ever am, so she does that. I go once a year for a reading. They have that day you can come in and read, a guest reader. And I'm good for about 15 minutes and I have to get out of there. I just can't. I can't do it. I told her, your kids are the most demanding, grossest, wiping their nose on my shirt. Kids, they're the cutest. They are our future. They're very exciting. But remarkable patience to do that, right? But recently, we hear this kind of thing in the community a lot. One of our coworkers said, well, both of my kids are going to the University of Miami, which is great. It's a good school, right? I think there's great schools in New Jersey. I don't know why you'd leave New Jersey, but it's a great school. I live near there. It's a private school, and that's fine until her sentence finished with, and by the time they're done, they'll each have about $200,000 in debt. I don't think that's too bad. Wow, I think that's horrible to start off life at 22 years old with $200,000 in debt. You are well on your way to buying a house. In many states that you could buy a house, but you're well on the way. $200,000 in debt in real terms means those students are going to be paying something in the neighborhood of about $1,500 a month for the next 30 years in student loans. So there's more emphasis on community colleges. Why? Because the state and the nation are looking, saying, hey, this is hurting our economy. Student loans have pushed past $1 trillion in this country, and that means students aren't able to buy houses and cars and the big durables, that they are producing fewer and fewer children. In fact, we're watching very closely, and we know by 25, 26, because the previous generation had fewer children, and this is a part of why, that enrollment numbers from that population will be dropping off substantially. Okay? Again, my wife and I had 4. So for those of you who are younger, do your part, would you? We need a little enrollment. It never hurts anything. So, but we are watching these trends as they occur very rapidly. We see that big tech, which has a $56 billion impact in New Jersey, is now saying more and more, we're not interested in the 4-year degrees. On our trip to Germany, we were with one of the heads for SAP, and she said, look, I'll tell you right out, we're meeting with, and we meet regularly with, Google and Microsoft and Apple, and we're moving away from the 4-year degrees because this industry is changing so fast. By the time they have that degree, they're already outdated. What we want are ongoing credentials, and you have them. It's our intention to work more closely with community colleges because you're nimble, you're relevant, you're current, and we can get the employees we need very, very quickly, which keeps our industry alive, okay? That $56 billion industry starts on campuses like CCM and the other 18 throughout the state and the more than 1,100 across the nation. But at the same time that some industries are changing how much and what degrees they want, others are ramping up more. We have an extraordinary nursing program, but nationwide we find more and more hospitals want the BAS degree. They want the 4-year degree. We have wonderful partnerships with 4-year universities. We have tremendous relationships with our area hospitals and medical providers, but the landscape we know is changing. So we have the facilities, we have the ability to do extraordinary things, we have great costs, we have tremendous professors. He's not here with us today, he's in the classroom, but our engineering department chair, Professor Vanny Fuentes, was selected as the #1 professor in the northeastern United States this year out of hundreds of individuals, in excess of 1,000, from Maryland all the way to the Canadian border, selected by the American Association of Community Colleges, American Community College Trustee Organization. They're affiliates of one another. So, the quality is there. He is one of many individuals. Here's what we don't have, and here's where we need support. We need more advocacy. We need more people to share what goes on community college campuses, how powerful they are. That students who start here, we find in national surveys and reports, do even better than native university students on their graduation rates. A tremendous start, or what we've been saying for 50 years, I started right. Hopefully you're enjoying the billboards and so forth. I started right has never been truer in this nation than it is today. So we need your advocacy. We need you to tell people, take a second look at your local community college. Take a look at County College of Morris and what the students there are achieving and what they're going on to do with their lives. Because as I put out on a Twitter feed recently, our students have everything except massive debt when they're done. And that's the one thing they don't want and they don't need. We do need greater support and funding. We've seen a reduction in 30% of our funding over the past decade. That's a sharp drop-off at a time when community colleges and having a high-skilled, high-wage workforce has never been as important. When we hosted the Manufacturing Caucus here last year, and we had dozens and dozens and dozens of manufacturers, large and small, and they talked to our legislators, they made one point, and the point was this, in the words of one of our manufacturers: if you think taxes are my biggest problem, and whether or not I will stay in New Jersey, you're wrong. The biggest concern that I have is a well-trained and educated workforce. And if I have that pipeline, I'm staying right here. And if I don't, I can't. It's not a matter of preference. We are that pipeline. It's why we work very closely with the manufacturers, with the hospitals, with the restaurant associations. But it's those partnerships that matter, okay? So we work closely with them. We work very closely with our school districts. I see Superintendent Moffitt, who's on our campus so much, we're going to give him an office here pretty soon. Right? We're not paying him, but we'll just give him an office. But those relationships, right, whether it's Mount Arlington, whether it's our VOTEC, or any of the others that we work with in industry or our fellow educators, with towns, we work very, very closely. We're in Randolph. We wouldn't have that building if it wasn't for Steve and Jim Lovey's and that council. Okay? Everything that we have here is the result of great partnerships. So I'm asking for your advocacy in the communities. I'm asking for your advocacy when you go back to your offices, and I'm asking you to please keep us in mind as you make very, very hard decisions. Keep these students in mind. They're bright. They are our future. They are poised to do absolutely phenomenal things. They're doing great things right now, but they are really poised to do absolutely phenomenal things. And on their behalf, I ask you for that additional support. So thank you for taking a moment to listen to me this morning.